got a great sponsor. It is Home Title Lock. My friends, go to HomeTitleLock.com now and use promo code Tim. If you're a homeowner, you need to hear this. When's the last time you checked on your home title? That's a legal proof that you own your house. If you're like me, the answer is never. Well, to be fair, because of these guys, I did. And I will tell you, too, I was actually really surprised when I bought my first house, how I was like, what's the proof that I own this? And they're like, it's a paper. Where? Somewhere. And I was like, for real? That kind of freaked me out. The problem is in today's AI and cyber world, scammers are stealing home titles and your equity is the target. How it works? Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee with your county, and boom, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they take out loans using your equity or even sell your property. You won't even know it's happened until you get a collection or foreclosure notice. That's why you need to stop what you're doing today and find out if you're already a victim. Use promo code TIM at HomeTitleLock.com to make sure your title is still in your name. You'll also get a free title history report plus a free 14-day trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud should happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. Again, HomeTitleLock.com, promo code Tim. Shout out. Really do appreciate you guys sponsoring the show. From The Independent, Democrats spending millions to learn how to speak to American men and win back the working class. It's not going to happen. Look at this photo. These, I love it. They're like, let's get a picture of a guy doing what appears to be electrical work. I think it's electrical work, right? Party leaders are holing up in luxury hotel rooms. Okay, problem number one. On a strategy codenamed SAM, or Speaking with American Men, a Strategic Plan, which of course would be SWAMISP, not SAM, to try and convince working class to vote their way again, according to a report. They've blown millions of dollars, upwards of $20 million on their efforts, with donors and strategists holding up in luxury hotel rooms, brainstorming how to convince working class men to return to the party. The plan, codenamed SAM, we get it, promises to use the funds to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces. Along with this, we had this report from the New York Times. Democrats throw money at a problem countering GOP clout. At private gatherings, strategists and donors are swapping ideas to help the party capture the digital mojo that helped President Trump win. Yes, there's a price tag. Hey, look, it's everybody's favorite TDS cheerleader, Brian Tyler Cohen, who I think 9 out of 10 of his videos are just pictures of Trump. I'm not kidding. Go to his YouTube channel. Don't, but I guess if you do, you'll see literally nothing but Trump is bad in so many ways. But hey, you know what? It works for him. He games the algorithm and he makes money off it. Now, to exemplify this, I have this tweet from Derek Thompson, who I think hits the nail on the head with the hammer as to why Democrats cannot figure this out. Derek Thompson, of course, from The Atlantic writes, what Democrats really need is a way to reach people, especially young men who aren't consuming political news at all. My plan, if donors are listening, is that Democrats should create a men's health sleeper cell movement. You astroturf liberal Joe Rogan by paying a bunch of ripped, great-looking male influencers to do 3 years of non-political stuff, historical conspiracies, weird health-ish, supplement advocacy, etc., and then in August of 2028, they're all contractually obligated to go, oh, by the way, vote for the Democrat. What I absolutely love about that is he's saying, I know, let's trick people into voting Democrat, which didn't work the first time. And additionally, this is what they did in 2016. Prominent personalities and celebrities all came out and said, yay, Democrat. The issue is you have weird policies. Working class guys don't want to chop off little kids' balls, and they don't want open borders. They want their jobs back. So Democrats, if they came out and they were like, I'm just like Joe Rogan. The moon is a secret terraforming base created by aliens, and the pyramids can actually walk. People would be like, that's interesting. And then he went, also, we should remove the testicles of children. They'd be like, I'm not voting Democrat, dude. It's not going to happen. If Democrats want to win, they need to change their policies. The problem is they really want these policies.
So you know what they're doing in Texas instead? They're just running covertly in Texas. They're running as Republicans. They say all the right words as Republicans. And then when they get to the state house, oops,
Democrats.
They're Democrats.
Yep. Oops, all Democrats.
That's the strategy.
I guess that's what they have to do. They really do want these policies. They're not going to walk away from them.
As a bro's bro, I'll give the Democrats some free advice because I know they won't follow it anyway because they are beholden to the far left. The issue at hand here is that men don't want to be tone police and put up on endless purity tests. They don't want to have to feel like they're walking around on eggshells when they're on a podcast or what have you. So none of this would work because they'd say the wrong thing in a podcast and none of their viewers would end up forgiving them because of some, misdeed that they've done in the past. And there's no room for forgiveness in the far left space. It's just an endless firing squad on one another. So that's why I don't think this stuff is going to pan out for them. The bros need space to feel comfortable being themselves, being a little bit off-colored, and that is no longer permitted at all in these leftist spaces. So men are ostracized out of their spaces, especially young men, and I don't think there's a very effective way to bring them back in at this point.
I mean, young men know how the Democrats have looked at them and spoke about them for the past 2 decades, probably. I don't think that there's going to be any confusion among young men when it comes to the position the left have regarding young men. It's been so overstated, or it's been drilled into society, essentially. You've got it all over pop culture, the doofy husband that wouldn't be able to function if it wasn't for his brilliant wife that does everything. That's something, that trope has been trotted out in every sitcom, in every,
Finish real quick. I don't know.
I mean, it's in everywhere that you look, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's everywhere that men are considered bad, toxic masculinity. Men are looked at as the problem, and women are looked at as the solution, according to Democrats. And there's no hiding that.
I want to push back in that. While I would argue that the sitcom problem we have is that everybody hates marriage is the bigger issue. Homer Simpson is a moron who just magically succeeds at everything he does no matter what. And Peter Griffin is much the same, right? They actually made a joke about it where Peter has a helicopter and Joe is like, how can you afford these things? So they have the idiot, doofy, fat husband trope, but at least as far as it goes with like Simpsons and Family Guy, Homer's an astronaut. He went to space.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. So take that, take that for what it's worth. But it's the broad point still remains: toxic masculinity. There is no positive role models for men. Yeah. The idea of masculinity is looked at as overall just bad. So fair point on Homer and stuff like that. But I think that the overall point still stands. Men have been demonized by the left. Young men know it. They've seen it. They've grown up with it, and they're not going to be attracted to the left just by Hassan saying, yo, bro, I go to the gym too. That's just not going to work.
Yeah, I actually wonder who watches channels like his,
I think it's mostly LGBTQ.
Men dressed like women.
Yeah, and probably many
manly
women.
dressed women, you said?
I said men dressed like women.
Oh.
But see, where do they go to the restroom, though? Because, see, that's the brilliance on the right, is that if you can demonize them for going, men dressed like women, for going into the women's room, and then they go into the men's room dressed like a woman, it's a big loser.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but like it's also it's better for a man dressed like a woman to go into the men's room than for a man dressed like a woman to go into the woman's room. I believe that. It's tough to pick which one you prefer, I think. I
think the issue largely is that Democrats don't have sincere policy plans. They have wacky ideas that they adhere to because you're supposed to, and that's it. They don't want to deviate from those lines. I think liberals all tend to have, don't get me wrong, conservatives have some of this too, but liberals tend to have a degree, like your degree of how far left you are is where you draw the line on what is acceptable socially. So far left doesn't mean you're a socialist anymore. Probably does correlate. It just means that you buy into everything the left offers. Then you have like the moderate left, and it's like, well, you're not going as far as some of these leftists, but you still don't like Trump. And then you're liberal if you can disagree with all those things, but you still hate Trump no matter what. You won't recognize when the media lied to you. You have to hate Trump. And you can agree on everything else. You can call woke bad, but you're going to be a liberal. That means you have to hate Trump. And then you're conservative if you just disagree. And so as long as that's the case, that means regular run-of-the-mill guys who are like, I don't really care that much about Trump at all. They're like, well, then you're conservative. It's like, okay, I guess. The problem with Democrats is not how they're talking. It's that they're basically saying to young men, do you like Trump? And they go, don't really know much about him. You're a white supremacist. And they're like, okay, bye.
I think it's if you don't adhere to all of their ideological perspectives, then you're othered immediately. So if you're pro-choice, you are not welcome in Democrat circles. If you're anti-immigration, if you want to build the wall, then you're not welcome in any of these circles. If you don't believe in Medicare for all, you're not welcome in these circles. And increasingly, if you're not a socialist or a communist, you're not welcome in these circles. And you have to virtue signal to those people. And within the party, those people will purity test and ostracize you because that's where the base is. I think there's a white pill way to read into this, and it's that after decades of demonizing young white men, the Democrats are finally deciding that it's not a winning strategy, and they're working to refocus outreach to them. So I think this may indeed be a sign of a white boy summer to come.
Well, I actually think the Democrat strategy was white people don't have kids, so don't bet on them for the future. Bet on, so they were probably looking at a combination of racial in-group preference, except for white liberals with a racial out-group preference. And they said, how do we build a coalition? We're going to need something that brings together all races and white liberals. And that's why you end up with DEI. They're trying to unify all of these groups under one umbrella. Then they basically say, we will take your job from you. We will destroy your life unless you agree with every aspect of the psychotic ideology, which is a big tent that it's they're jamming puzzle pieces into spaces they don't fit. The right is just like, you guys want to hang out and debate? And they're like, sure. I don't agree with you. That's cool. I don't agree with you. Well, what should we do? That's the right. Largely, not completely.
It's become more big tent, I feel.
Well, I mean, yeah, but the thing is, that's because the left is so exclusive, right? The left kicks everyone out that doesn't agree. Again, this is something that we talked about a lot of times, but the reason that Donald Trump is in the Republican Party is because he used to be a Democrat, and now he wouldn't be welcome in the Democrat Party. Same thing with JFK. Same thing with Tulsi Gabbard. Same thing with, down the line. There's many, 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 many people that you can name in public life in the administration that used to be Democrat and have just normal person opinions. But because they don't believe things like, men can become women, they're excommunicated from the Democrat Party. That's why the MAGA big tent is what it is. That's why we have the people that are, pro-choice as well as people that are pro-life under the MAGA tent, because it's a big tent, party.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.